Welcome to NWA Cane Corsos Podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
I'm the true champion, and they make me the underdog. I'm gonna show them all they're wrong because I'm the champion. I'm the real champion. There's never be one like me.
I just need a drink and then you know I'm feeling good. I ain't got no timing for no enemies. Today you get a pass for sliding back, you know I would. If you ain't trying to win, then what you in it for? Have to roll the dice or call it 10 or 4. Get yourself some paper, that's an antidote. But do it on the low unless it's need to know. I think I need to grow. Feel like my ceiling's low. The way these running.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Joe. If you've never been here before, look, ain't nothing. It's wide open. It's all things dogs. If you can't take people conversations, their experiences, and it just, you one of them people, it's gotta be my way. I'm right. You ain't gonna be able to, you ain't gonna like this channel. So, but I'm glad everybody's back. Make sure you support the channel financially as well. Yes. Don't let them make you feel ashamed for supporting us financially. Cash out, become a member, do whatever you need to do to keep this thing going. Today, we got a guy that's been here before. He's no stranger. Vic, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, Joe? And everybody else in the chat?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm doing good. And he also brought along brother Cody, another service member of Hills when they was doing their thing and police K9s. Cody, welcome to the show, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right. Okay, so let's do this. We got it cranked up a little bit early, so people should be coming in. Vic, just if they hadn't seen you before, bro, please just do a little introduction if you would.
Vic, some of y'all in the chat might know me, former military working dog handler. Had like 5 duty stations. I did it for right under 10 years, 2 deployments. And now I just train dogs at home.
That's what's up. Cody, welcome to the show. What about yourself, sir?
Yeah, I just got out here recently, did about 13 years. Dog handler, trainer, kennel master, deployed, worked both explosive and narcotic dogs. You know, kind of got to see how the sausage was made and how the clocks tick.
Y'all can't see, Cody got all his stuff behind him on the wall. He decorated over there.
Yeah, like professional.
Yeah.
Gotta give me something like that.
Yeah, so you said you did explosive and narcotics?
Yes.
Hold on. Scottie, what's happening, brother? U.S. Navy in the house. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
How you doing, Scottie?
I'm good.
All right. Welcome to the show. Vic, this is another one of your friends.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can take
all them brothers from another mother, always with me Scott's been with me pretty much my whole career. Me and Cody was on the tail end, but still brothers from another mother. Scott, you introduce yourself. I know you still at work right now. He actually out here still doing it. Me and Cody stepped away from it. Yeah. But that's another dude that's done narcotics, drugs, canine handler. He's Navy. Me and Cody did ours for the Air Force. Yeah. I can't remember how long you did it. You've been in what, 10, 11 years now? 12?
Yeah, Scott. 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. So, Vic, you and Cody, Air Force, and Scottie is U.S. Navy. Okay, cool. How you meet a Navy guy?
Long time. We go back before the military. We actually used to live in Mississippi together. We both actually joined the Air Force together. It's where we grew up or developed our brotherhood, really. And then later on, he transitioned over to the Navy, and we ran back into each other in K9 school, and we've been clicking ever since.
So all we missing is one of them jar heads and one of them.
Yeah,
That's all.
My brother.
Yeah. So let's start off like this. And Vic, have your way, bro, because you're gonna be able to navigate this conversation better than I would. But a day in the life of a military K9 handler.
You want it from the handler? Let Scott go. Scott's doing
Scott,
it right now.
You're doing it, yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well, I mean, honestly, you get in the morning, feed dogs, and clean up after them. After that, it's boots on the ground. You training, trying to fix stuff that is like training things that's broken, deficiencies, trying to get your dog to do beyond the exception. And then after that is trying to see like what other cool thing you can do better than the other handlers. And that's how you do the iron sharpens iron type deal. Oh, you make me better, I make you better.
Mm-hmm. So y'all feed them in the morning?
Yeah, bright and early.
Really?
Usually we try to feed them before we do any type of work. Make sure the body's fueled, dog's ready to go.
Yeah.
By the time that process is out and like we're good to move. Usually that's how it goes. Sometimes it is your own dog. Once again, we got to feed a full kennel. It's not just our own dog; it's a full kennel. So even though you are assigned to one dog or whatever, you still take care of the other dogs, especially if their handlers aren't there. So it's a trade-off. Yes, you are responsible for one dog, but you're really responsible for a whole kennel of all these dogs.
Gotcha.
So whether it's feeding, it's medical, whether it's make sure some dogs have to take meds or get the right meds or whatever, like you got to be able to step in and still be able to handle another dog in case of, handler not being there, handler goes down or whatever the case may be.
Okay. So does anything change on a deployed day? We talking about a non-deployed day here, right? What about
non-deployed?
Yeah.
Cody, you want to go over deployed?
Yeah. I mean, deployed's usually a lot simpler. Even outside of the canine world, I always like to say you kind of get to live pretty selfishly when you're deployed. You're not necessarily worried about as much when you're over there outside of you. And, if you are with a dog, worried about the dog. So usually the hours are a little crazier. Usually you're working 12-hour shifts. So you're kind of up and at them early, but still the same thing, kind of feeding dogs, making sure they're not slopping around in their mess in the kennel. Or, a lot of the times you'll be deployed and the dog will actually just be staying with you. So like my last deployment in Africa, my dog lived with me the entire time. So it was just kind of him and I. But Air Force side of things, I can't really speak on the other branches. Primary stuff is you're just kind of searching vehicles all day, hanging out. Good time to get a lot of training in, though. So you got a lot of downtime. So getting out there and being able to kind of work on stuff and get things really well put together. Usually when handlers come home from deployments, they're like a pretty great put together team that you usually don't have to worry about. But unfortunately, usually when that happens, they come home and you typically have to kind of split that team up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just because I know with us, the tempo for us and us sending dogs out the door was pretty quick. And I think there was a point we only had 3 dogs that were deployable status, and we didn't want to be sending the same guy out the door, on constant rotations. Though we did have one guy who enjoyed it. I think he went twice in a 1.5-year period. Went for 6 months, came home for 6, and left for another 6. And he's actually deployed again right now. Been over there.
I know who you're talking about now.
Been there for about 8-9 months.
So to piggyback off of, I think the biggest difference is when you're at home versus deployed is at home you kind of have other things to do. Like even though we are canine handlers, we're still kind of falling into that police role to where you might not do a lot of dog stuff on a particular day. You might really just do law enforcement. Whereas when you're deployed, it's kind of like you're out there practicing everything you've done. Like you're out there really doing the job versus when you're at home. And I think that's the difference. And so like when you don't have those distractions of like, oh, I gotta go, help the old lady that fell at the club last night or whatever the case may be, versus where like I'm just doing dog stuff for 6, 7, 8, 9 months at a time is a lot different. So your tempo is different and your workload is a lot different.
Let me ask you this. What made you guys, Cody, we'll start off with you. What made you guys want to join these branches? And was that your first MOS you chose, K9 handling?
So, I mean, you're probably not going to like this answer, but I like to tell people I kind of joined by accident. I kind of messed around in high school a little too much, had a little too much fun.
Yeah.
And coming towards the end of my junior year, a good friend of mine ended up getting me a job working at a restaurant. And I kind of realized that was not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of piloted that idea towards me. And he was like, I've been thinking about joining the Air Force. And I was like, dude, I don't want to fly an airplane. I grew up, my stepdad was in the Navy. He was a recruiter. And I always was like, nah, I'm not going to join the military. I'm, going to go to college and go be whatever. And then it kind of came down to crunch time. And I kind of just went with the flow with the whole process. And somehow I had probably the smoothest recruiting experience anybody in the military has ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of showed up, went to MEPS the next day, and then left a couple months later without a hiccup in the entire thing.
Mm.
And then K9 didn't even really ever cross my path. When I got to my first duty station, those guys, it was a very rare day if you ever even saw them. They were so busy at the time because this was right there at the tail end of, Afghanistan and Iraq. So like 2011, 2012 timeframe. So these guys were just constantly out the door. So we just never saw them. But I was fortunate enough on my first deployment to get to spend a lot of time with the dog handlers and kind of got to see them work day to day. And I was kind of like, whoa, this is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Mm.
And I was hooked from there.
All right. Vic, what was your reasons for joining and picking the job you did?
I'm not too different. High school, I was like, I'm gonna go play college ball. High school hit me and reality set in at the same time where like you're not playing college ball being 5'6". So I had a pivot and I was like, I'm not going to college if I can't play ball. My dad was Navy. Is that me?
Yeah, that's you. Yeah.
No, it's his radio.
Oh, that's your radio.
Oh, is it?
I was like, yeah, I'm not going to college to actually study. So I think the week after I graduated, I joined the military and I was gone. K9 didn't really cross my mind. My first base was Korea. And so with that, I was like, all right, I got to see the K9 guys and go out there and kind of practice with them a little bit just to kind of see what it was. And I just thought it was more fulfilling at that point. Like to go out there and to see some of these guys be like, oh, I gotta teach my dog this, or I gotta work out an issue. And then you actually get to see the accomplishment of it, is really like, it's hard, but it's really fulfilling when you can get through something, whether it's a training problem or whatever the case may have been. That's really how I fell into it. I was like, I just feel more rewarded doing this than normal. Like, so for Air Force, you actually join as like a normal cop. And then like you get the opportunity like at a certain window where you can transition over to K9. But you gotta go over there, you gotta show them, you almost gotta like try out for it, essentially. And so I was over there just hanging out anyways, because I was like, these guys are cool, these kind of like my people. And that's how I fell into it.
Right. Scottie, are you in here? I think he tapped out.
I think duty called.
Okay, yeah. So I'll let him just come back in. I'll just remove him, and let him come back in. He might have got a call. So, man, y'all like the coolest police officers ever, man. y'all laid back.
Well, I was probably a pretty terrible police officer.
Why you say that?
Yeah.
I was
a terrible cop.
That was not my cup of tea. I mean, the only reason I even stayed in for so long was the dogs. And, unfortunately in the Air Force, K9 is not a permanent position. Eventually your time comes due where they send you back. And that's when I punched my ticket and I left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was a terrible cop. I was a great canine handler.
Yeah.
TDYs, deployments.
Yeah.
You want me out there in the streets with the dog? Yeah. But as just cops and trying to write, I don't think I wrote a ticket my whole career.
Yeah.
I would pull you over and just like slow down, and I'll just hold you there, and then I'll just be like, yeah, you can go now.
Y'all vibe is totally different because I know a lot of cops, dudes I grew up with, and they like I had to quit hanging with them, man, because like after they became cops, it wasn't fun no more. They looking at everything. I'm like, hey man, calm down. We just in the restaurant, you know what I mean? So it's like they took their job everywhere. Let me ask you this now, since we're talking about this now, I'm gonna get you in just a little bit of trouble, but do you find that it's always the stereotypical say, oh, when he was in high school, he couldn't do nothing. He was just nerd, and he got to be a cop. He started power tripping. But do you think like military and law enforcement, sometimes I've seen guys seem like it works better for them in life because it's structured. Do you see some people excel in structure? Because I know some dudes that probably they do good at being in the army and cops, but you give them a civilian job, man, they can't make it, brother. They can't. Do you notice that?
I think it's kind of, you see both sides of it.
Okay.
So you get a lot of people that you can kind of sit there and be like, hey, this guy needs some sort of structure and guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Especially you're getting these real young kids, 17 sometimes, that have never been given responsibility. And then all of a sudden you're handing them a steady paycheck and, a place to stay. And they probably need that little bit of guidance and structure, and they can't handle it. They feel that they're grown and they kind of fight against it. And that's usually one of the big hurdles with the younger cats. But then there's also the people that you see come in, and it's usually the way I saw it was older females.
Oh, okay.
That took to the structure really well and kind of thrived the best. It was like, females would come in at like 24, 25 years old, and those are the ones that you would see that would just kind of thrive in the environment.
Right. Vic, what's your thoughts on what I asked?
Yeah, you see it kind of both ways. It is, I think that when you kind of see like the failures, like people that haven't really lived life, and now you give them kind of some freedom, you put them in like a foreign country or something, and now they kind of go a little bit wild. Like joining the military, it is a lot to adapt to. It's a lot to adapt to take somebody that's 17, 18, moving from, their family and whatever they're used to, and to put them out and be like, hey, go be an adult to an extent. Like when you first join, they're going to treat you like a kid until you kind of earn that right to be an adult. But you see it both ways. In terms of like seeing like cops and stuff, power trip, I don't think so really in the military. Like there's some go-getters for sure. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that there's too many people in terms of during the actual law enforcement job that power trip. Now maybe some people that get some rank on them want to kind of
it's more so that you'll get a lot of that, or you'll get a lot of retirees are always the worst.
Yeah,
for the worst people to deal with. Something about those people, and I'm not knocking any of them. I'm sure they did great things for the country, and hey, thank you for your service. But coming up to the gate and yelling at some 17, 18-year-old kid because the line's a little backed up, right. You're not the only one trying to come on base. So you see a lot of that more than anything.
And they've all been there, done it, did it better than you, and got a story to tell you about it.
Yeah, retirees or somebody's wife is usually
Wives.
Those are the
wives.
people you're getting trying to power trip on you more than the people you're actually trying to work with.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, you said wives. With the wives, they feel like they
They're empowered.
Yeah. Empowered. Good word. Yeah. So let's get into some dog stuff. So being a breeder, I'm wondering what the husbandry looks like. Does it look different? What's the physical condition and how y'all condition the dogs?
So basically, you work them every day. The dogs are already kind of in good shape. You know, we have like a monthly training regimen that we really follow, and you got to be able to make that. Especially if you know that you're about to deploy or something, you kind of go ahead and it's like getting ready for a game. You kind of already know what's coming. You can kind of prepare for it, and you got to practice like you play. So in terms of like husbandry, like you said, you get to the kennels, start your shift. You immediately got to clean up after dogs. It's a kennel. Dogs make a mess. If you don't know that, then I'm sorry. Welcome to dog life. And then feed, meds. Always got to check out your dog. Make sure your dog's in good health. So we do health checks every time we get a dog, every morning. And then you go about your day. Usually we got an OB yard that, you know, if you need to burn energy or you working on something, you doing obstacles or whatever, and then you're hitting the day to day. If you're lucky, you're somewhere that they give you a training day where you don't even you don't have to go get your badge and gun and all that stuff. You just working your dog and whatever you need to do. So I know when I was with Cody, every so often I just run. Cody go set up a training problem and I'll take my dog and I'll run there. It was a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. Me and the dog will run there. He get a little break, get some water, and then we hit the training situation, and then he get another break, and then we'll run back. You know, it's a lot of different ways. I know some places got like treadmills for the dogs and stuff like that, but it really is like you're walking with an athlete, and you got to treat them like that.
Right.
You're not going to Starbucks getting pup cups and stuff like that.
Right.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah, and a lot of it is also it's environmental. So like us being in South Mississippi, it's hot, it's humid. You know, you kind of got to acclimate those dogs to that. Same with if you're going overseas. You know, if you're stationed in Colorado or San Diego where it's nice and cool all the time, but then you're about to go take a trip to Africa or somewhere in the Gulf where it's 120 degrees and max humidity, you know, you kind of got to be able to acclimate that dog to that and kind of put them in that position to thrive when you get there. So we would get dogs from Lackland and, you know, their program is so big, they can't, you know, constantly keep up with like the stamina of all the dogs at all times, especially after they're certified and ready to be sent out. So, you know, we get these dogs from Lackland and, you know, kind of building that endurance and building that stamina is, you know, kind of a big part of that checklist. You know, getting them back to, I guess, in fighting shape. But a lot of people do it different. You know, most of my guys, you know, they were big on going on long runs. Long runs were kind of like the go-to method.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then, even with the acclimation, like in Germany, it was crazy. It would be like 80, 90 degrees in the summer. And then it would drop down to like 12 in the winter. Mm-hmm. So you really are like starting from scratch and you know it's coming. So you restart that process.
Right. Hey, Scottie, let me go back. I want to ask you a question. What was your reasons for joining the military and picking the MOS? I think that's what y'all call it, the job you did.
Man, it was a backup option, honestly. I'm just like everybody else. I wanted to go to college, play ball, join a frat. Like I had plans and plans didn't go as I wanted. So I ended up joining the Air National Guard, trying to go out there, pay for school. And, you know, while I was out there, I realized, like, man, I'm doing the same job as everybody else just to go back home. And I ain't like that feeling. So tried to go active, and that's how I ended up in the Navy. So, active duty Navy, and when I was in the Air Force, I saw a K9 demo. I was half asleep throughout the class, and they came out to the demo. I was wide awake after that, and I was like, I want to do that right there. Them dudes had fun. And like I said, join the Navy. They was like, "Hey, we got K9 options. You want it?" I was like, "That's what I'm here for." I was just waiting on the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, one thing led to another, and God blessed me with the opportunity to do the job that I wanted.
Did you really fool with dogs before then, or is it something you just kind of like fell in love with?
Oh man, honestly, I was scared of big dogs growing up.
Really? Yeah.
Hey man, I'm from Memphis, where you saw a big dog, you knew to go the other way.
Oh, you from Memphis?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You kind of like a homeboy. My family from right down the road, outside of West Memphis, Forest City, Arkansas. I'm from Little Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, from Memphis, and then I spent a lot of time in Mississippi, and same deal. You see a big dog, you go the other way.
Yeah.
And so this pretty much it got rid of that fight or flight deal with big dogs.
Right. So what when they teach you how to handle these dogs, y'all had to go through like a school, a sit, the stay, all that good stuff, right?
Yep.
Then you graduated to narcotics and bomb dogs and all that. What's the process on that? We'll let you start with that one, Scottie.
It's not really much of a difference. Like, we all go through the schooling together and stuff. Let's see. And in the schooling, it's the same deal as, out when you're at different bases and everything. The difference is the dogs that you're in school with, they know the routine. They're like, all right, I'm about to do this, I'm going to do that, and then they're going to leave me alone. When you're at your base, you don't leave that dog alone. It's like, you got to go with me everywhere I go, because like they mentioned earlier, it's on top of dog training, you're doing law enforcement.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Now, each dog, do they train for one discipline, whether it be narcotic or another apprehension, or do the dogs do more than one thing?
So dogs, they do narcotics or explosives.
Okay.
And then there are other dogs that will do bite work.
Okay.
But they can do they can either do narcotics and bite work, or they can do explosives and bite work.
Yeah. So the way that we divvy it up is for your detection, we don't mix the two. For whatever reason, if you got a dog that's narcotics, he's going to stay narcotics. If they're explosive, they're going to stay explosive. You don't mix them, because if you're looking for drugs and your dog's trained on both, and you could open like a drawer or something, you don't know what your dog is actually telling you is in that drawer. You think it's some weed or something. You open up, it's a bomb. You're in a bad situation. So we don't mix the detection disciplines, but dogs can be trained in one of those. Primary is going to be one of those, explosives or narcotics, and then you can throw on the bite work, which we call patrol work.
Patrol. Okay. All right. Cody, you got anything you want to add to that?
Oh, no. I mean, they covered it.
Okay. So, okay, I got some questions I'm going to save before we get into it. But, so when you practice like decoy work, who is the decoy? Just the enemy? Okay. So,
if me and Scott are on the road together, he might be like, hey, I got to knock out some training, get in the suit. And then when he's done, I'm like, your turn to get in the suit, and I'm going to get my dog. And it's kind of like that. Like, for us, we're really, I would say that you got some people that are like specialists in the canine world. We're like really well-rounded. You got to know your vet. You got to know how to decoy. You got to know how to handle. You got to know how to train a little bit. You kind of got to have your hands in everything because that's what you got. You know, if you go down range to a deployment and it's you and another canine handler, well, y'all still got to keep up with whatever training you got and still keep up with your day-to-day operations and stuff like that. So we don't get to, I'll say that we don't get to specialize in anything, but we can do everything. You know, you got to know how to save your dog from a heat stroke, a snake bite, whatever the case may be. And
there's definitely so you definitely have to know. You have to know everything, but like Vic was my go-to for demos for Bitework. He was like, if I needed a decoy, he is who I was calling. You know, he kind of got the most out of the dog in that situation. And then myself, like I was lucky enough to meet with Army Special Forces, one of their dog trainers, and had a really good conversation with him a couple times about detection. So that's kind of where my skill set is detection, more so than the patrol work or the obedience side of it. So like on the detection side, I have a lot more to offer somebody than I do in, you know, patrol or obedience. So even in my role as a trainer, like I'm still leaning on these guys who, you know, maybe give a younger handler a tip that I might not know just because, you know, that's not something I specialize in as much as I did detection.
So I'm looking at Scottie's dog and everything, and the reason why I asked that question earlier, who was the decoy, because I see a lot of videos on, you know, I seen dogs go after another police. How often does it happen, and how do you just got to keep or is it the wrong dog for you, a dog that will do that?
I think any dog's capable of that. You know, somebody that steps in front of a dog that's going for a bite, the dog's going to take what's available.
Hey, Scottie, can you mute your microphone for a minute? I feel like an engine. There you go. And then when I you know, you unmuted when we. Okay, sorry.
We're following you. Speak when spoken to. No.
Yeah. But then another another side to that coin with, you know, that is all of our training is in pretty controlled environments for the most part. We did some stuff with local law enforcement. I wasn't the biggest fan of doing it, just because their scopes are so much different than ours. But I know with us, like we had our regulations we had to follow and how we do training. Only gear we had was what was purchased for us, and we kind of had to be able to justify that. So a lot of our training, you know, you're in a controlled area with the gear on, and you don't necessarily know what's going to happen come a real world situation. Because at the end of the day, as much training as you pour into this dog, it is a dog. So, you know,
right.
A flashing light could catch its attention and it's gone. Trying to see what that is.
Is there any situations like y'all got written or unwritten? I don't put my dog in that situation. I'm not sending them in there.
Active shooters probably the biggest controversial one.
Okay.
Like if somebody's shooting, like your dog's not faster than a bullet.
Yeah.
Might not send that into that one.
My rule of thumb was like if I'm looking for somebody, I'm using the dog. You know, the dog is gonna be better at that than I am. He's faster than me. He's got better eyes. He's got a better, you know, sense of smell. But if, you know, something, I mean, for the most part, a lot of our interactions with people, and I'm not sure about the Navy. I know me and Vic, a lot of what it was you're getting a call last minute after people are already there and showing up and just kind of looking scary.
Yeah. It's just so much that goes into, especially the apprehension side of it with us, that you have to justify. You got to go back and that you'll see some places they'll be kind of skeptical about even using the dog in that role. that they're like, yeah, like I remember my first day working with Cody, I got called to one and we sat there for like 8 hours. And I was like, I got the dog ready. Like I can just go drag the dude out. And we tried every other method before we got to the dog. We were there so long the dude just gave up. He's like, yeah, it's cool. But some places they'll like send it, go get it. It just kind of depends on like your base, their mission, who's calling the shots at the time to really justify some stuff. But when it comes to using the dog and what we won't use them for, is more like, are we going to be successful? Like with any dog training, you're always going to try to set your dog up for success. And this is a situation where I'm like, either my dog's going to get hurt or this isn't the right, way to use the dog. Then we kind of have that judgment call.
Right. Scottie, beam up, Scottie. What's your answer to that question?
Yeah, that's I think that's pretty much around the board with all branches. You don't want to put your dog in a situation you wouldn't put yourself in. The way we identify it is your dog is in addition to your everyday work. So if the situation don't call for the dog, don't bring your dog out.
Okay, all right. Y'all
For
hear that?
those that didn't hear him, he kind of just piggybacked off of me. If it's not going to be advantageous to use the dog, then we probably ain't going to use the dog. That's kind of the unspoken rule that we kind of just abide by.
Right. Doug asks here, how many cents do they imprint for explosive detection?
Go ahead, Cody.
I mean, that differs branch to branch. We use 9, so 6 hard aids, 3 soft aids. I won't get into the detail, give out too many trade secrets of what they were, but I know the Navy, y'all use 11 because y'all got a couple extra things that we don't have.
Yeah, and then it also depends on like what your mission is. If you're going to be deploying over to a certain region and we know that y'all use a certain explosive, we'll add it.
Yeah. Usually when you go to pre-deployment training, they'll imprint you on some homemade stuff just to kind of get the dog around it, but I'm not sure how much I'd trust it.
Genetically, these dogs, when you wait, hold on, Doug got another one.
Yes, Doug, we'll do HME.
HME, yeah. What is HME?
Homemade explosives.
Oh, homemade explosives. Okay, gotcha. All right. One thing I wanted to ask is what kind of dogs are y'all mainly using?
So we've used. You're going to see a lot of Malinois, a lot of Shepherds. We from time to time you'll see a Lab. I've seen a giant Schnauzer. I've seen German Shorthair Pointers.
Terriers.
Yeah, I think Scott. I think you used to work at Jack Russell, didn't you? Yeah, Scott used to work at Jack Russell, so it's just yeah. So we'll work whatever works. Honestly, those are just our typical ones. Typically, you're going to see a Mal or a Shepherd, but we've used others. I've worked alongside a GSP, and he was dope. You see some Dutch Shepherds too. I left them out. Dutch Shepherds, pretty much like another Malinois. Right.
So, my question is going to be, it's kind of, don't laugh at me. I ask dumb questions, but I got to ask them because somehow magic happens. But a dog getting deployed, I mean, I would wonder how would it be acclimated to all that, depending on where you at in a war zone. How do you acclimate a dog for like
we train it. We train it.
Simulate all this stuff.
Yeah. So
you do walkthroughs. Yeah, I forgot you do walkthroughs. That's right.
With that so monthly we have to expose them to gunfire.
Right.
So we'll go out with the rifles with a revolver, and we're firing off blanks just
Machine
right there.
guns.
Right there with them, kind of getting them acclimated to those loud, kind of sudden noises. Making sure that they're good with that. Because technically, if you can't do that around the dog, you're not supposed to send them down range.
Yeah. So,
and then when you go down to pre-deployment training, If you have some good instructors down there, because when you're down there for pre-deployment training, you're firing every gun known to man, throwing grenades, doing all kinds of stuff you'll probably never do in real life. So if you're down there with a dog and you have a good set of instructors, usually they'll let you kind of have the dog out and kind of expose them to that. That way it's not brand new to them in a situation that's life or death.
Yeah, good leadership too. They'll let you sometimes you get like the helicopter rides and stuff like that, so that we try to set you up beforehand so that this isn't the first time or it's nothing brand new. You just proceed as normal. But yeah, monthly we're doing that.
Gotcha. Win Michelle says, "Hey Win, what's happening, y'all? Y'all need websites and stuff built? Holla at Win Michelle. She's on Instagram. Win Michelle on Facebook. Hit her up. Y'all need any kind of assistance with stuff. Very talented sister." She says, "Why those specific breeds?" And I want to add in, is it specific breeders that military deal with for the most part?
I mean, mainly the shepherds and the mals because of their genetics as like a working dog. They have a high drive for working. They're great sense of smell, great vision, especially at nighttime. So that's kind of like the big factor in that. On the other side of that coin, there are the health problems, especially in the shepherds with kind of the hip dysplasia and stuff like that. As for breeders, there are specific breeders they buy from, but they also breed dogs in-house down in San Antonio.
Yeah,
I'll program.
I'll piggyback off that and be like, why do you see Mals and Sheps in sports? Why do you see Border Collies typically herding? And it's just because they work. They have the backing, the history to say that they can do it, and they've excelled at it. So why not go with the winning formula?
Scottie, you got any thoughts on that?
No, that's pretty much it. We go with what works. They used to say back in the day they used to use Dobermans, but there was a lot of issues with Dobermans, like why they started cropping their ears and they docking their tails. The dog that we use now is longevity. That's pretty much what it all comes down to: longevity and everything else that they put out.
Gotcha. Doug says, were the dogs green when they first assigned or already trained?
So dogs go through Lackland. That's the training program. Lackland's going to weed them out, say they can work or they can't, and then they do the initial training. It's like they imprint them on everything. They're not great at anything. Usually they're not great at anything, but they train them the basics, and then they get assigned to a base, and it's up to that base, that training staff, that handler to progress the dog.
Gotcha. So these dogs are what the general public or people like me and watch this channel, just regular breeders, will say pretty strong dogs. Is there a difference, Vic? You watch the channel a lot, so you know where I'm going with this. Is it a difference in a really strong dog, and do they get classified as unstable, or is it? How do you define that?
So the military actually does. So when they buy these dogs from overseas, they will not buy dogs that have characteristics of aggression. So they will not purchase dogs that have a quote unquote alpha personality type. Mm-hmm. It's like written in the regulations of the DoD purchasing program that they are not allowed to purchase those dogs because they don't want that aggressive factor. So you get those aggressive dogs just, every once in a while. But I mean, they're so few and far between. I think throughout my 13 years in, I came across two that were just truly, for lack of a better term, just like an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's, hundreds and hundreds of dogs, two of them that I was truly like kind of sketched out by.
Yeah, I can. In the 5 bases that I went to 2 of the biggest kennels. I could probably count 5 that were like, yeah, you got to watch out when he comes out. Like,
Okay.
and some of them, yeah, we don't really get them just because, like, in the same sense that they could have this aggression as alpha. I could be working this dog next week or this week, and then next week it could be Cody's. He's got
Yeah.
to be able to pick up and be proficient, you know.
Yeah, you
And
did.
still be able to-
You told us the last time that you was on here. You said the dogs change their hands a lot.
Yeah. So that alpha mentality where it's a lot of conflict in the team, and you just kind of go ahead and eliminate that off the hand. I mean, some of them do come through, but once again, few and far between. We want the dog that, you know, not everybody can go in and put their hands on, but like an experienced handler or a trainer can go in and get the best out of the dog. You don't need that conflict internally.
Yeah, it's a lot more so like taking a dog with kind of a moldable nature and building that selective aggression. So kind of getting them to the point where you know they can turn it on and turn it off. And not once they kind of get into drive, they stay in drive, and it's impossible to get anything else done. You know, we had a dog that was an issue. You'd get him in drive, and, I mean, you're having to put him up, wait 20, 30 minutes and get him to calm down, and it made it impossible to get anything done. You know?
I'd say that the most aggressive dog I worked with was Rufus, right? And he wasn't really aggressive. You just, if you weren't a handler, don't come around him.
Yeah.
Right? And
really?
that was the rule. Like in the kennel, like me and Cody could be sitting there chilling. A stranger walk in, then like you should probably be careful. But he's not inherently aggressive. It's not inherently dangerous. It's just he knew his job, and his job was.
I mean, I brought my kids around him 100 times, and he was fine because he saw them often. But you know, we'd have, I mean, hundreds of people a month coming to the kennels for demonstrations and stuff, and we'd usually take him down through the kennel. And all the dogs would be kind of quiet and just kind of spinning around. And then they hit Rufus. And every time I would get in front of them, stop and turn around and watch as they crossed his kennel. And he went nuts and scared them every time.
Teeth, biting kennels, whatever. Like that was just what he portrayed as. But like I worked him off leash often, and he was fine. He was under control. He wasn't just headhunting.
Right. Scottie, I got a question I'm gonna put in here for you. Okay, Inquisitive, give me 1 second. I'm gonna get Doug, and then I'll come back to you. How important is the heel during a sweep or during combat? Regular or focus heel? Let's wait. Oh, y'all, but Scottie, you can pop it off.
Oh man, that heel is going to be that's almost like the foundation of your training. If your dog can heel, either in a calm situation or just like on a day-to-day, y'all just walking versus in a high combat situation. Like in a sweep, you don't really want your dog in the heel because that's the opportunity for them to do their job, to go out and be a dog, be investigative. So a heel in a sweep, not so much. A heel in a combat situation, yeah, absolutely. I want my dog almost in my pocket because I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know what's behind the door. But once I see that hallway or that first 4 corners of the room is clear, hey, go in there, do your thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a heel is really like our foundational OB. So you're always working on a heel. I see he says regular or focus. We don't really need a focus heel. Once again, like a lot of the things we do, we're sending dogs ahead of us. So in a heel, like they don't gotta be focused. They should have eyes ahead looking for whatever it is we're looking for, and they're more a participant that way. If I'm sweeping something and I got my eyes downrange and he catches motion and he can alert to it, then I'd rather have that than a dog that's in here staring at me and not really in the game.
You got anything you want to add to that, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, I think more so a recall than a heel. Naturally when you recall, they're going to go into a heel, but kind of having that good building block or recall, especially during sweeps. Especially you're working an explosive dog. You go into a real world scenario, dog alerts on something. You want to be able to get that dog out of dodge pretty quickly. So kind of building that good recall, which naturally, like they were saying, the heel is the building block. So, kind of having that good heel, having that good recall, definitely useful in that. More so in a combat situation. I mean, if I'm going somewhere where I know, it might get a little froggy, especially if weapons are involved, I'm not bringing the dog with me, if I'm being completely honest. I feel at that point the dog would be more so a hindrance than it would a help. It's like bringing a gun and a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, but yeah, I think more so in those working situation, recall is probably more so kind of would be used rather than, I guess, the heel itself. But again, that's built off the heel.
Still the foundation of everything you do in the dog, healing and making it come back and everything like that. Now we got a question. Let me pull this up because I didn't know if y'all would know this off the top of your heads, but he says about how many dogs does the military purchase and what percentage move on to the service? So here's this. It says the U.S. military purchased roughly 400, that's south of me, 400 to 450 dogs each year to maintain its active duty force, about 1,600 to 2,500 working dogs. So that's what it says there on that question. Doug says, how important is the heel during a sweep? Oh, wait, sorry, no, I already got that one, sorry.
To answer the number is whatever we need to complete. Like, once again, the military has to still divvy out these dogs to Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, whatever special groups they got. So you still got to maintain that. Now, dogs are in the service one day and then they can get knocked out another time. The dog can, have bad hips, or I had a dog that had a heart issue, I mean, she was older, but she had a heart issue. And we had to retire her right then. We had a dog that he had nerve damage in the leg, and the leg was just done. The leg was a dead leg. He had to get it amputated. He was a healthy dog, and now he can't work anymore. So the numbers fluctuate all the time, but they got to be able to maintain the whole military. And so whatever percentage that they feel like can pass, they'll pass. I know there's been a couple situations where they'll call ahead and they're like, hey, this dog is on the fence. Do you guys feel like you can push it? And sometimes we'll try in that aspect, but to put a number to it, I don't think I could put a number to it or a percentage. It's just like if you breed dogs and you want them to work, what's the percentage that they'll work? It's kind of just shooting a shot in the dark to be like, okay, sometimes you have a really good litter, sometimes not so hot.
With that being said, you talked about some issues several times in dogs, and if you ever breed dogs, you know it's going to be issues. It's no perfect litter, all the health testing and things. Shit happens, right? So when the military or the police are buying dogs, are they really emphasizing more the work rather than all the health testing and things like that? What do they look for when they is it more a function over everything?
That's a Cody question.
Cody.
So, when they go overseas and they're doing these purchasing trips, they go out there for like a couple weeks at a time, and they'll see kind of a lot of dogs. These breeders that they're going to, I think the dogs are like right around 6 months old when they're purchasing them. So when they're going on these purchase trips, and they're definitely reviewing stuff down there. The military has a test that they put every dog through when they go on these purchasing trips. They go through a vet health checkup. I think they may get a brief lineage look through, but then a lot of it is drive testing. So all of the dogs that they're going to purchase are basically trained to like tap in like basic like prey drive and like kind of hunting. So they'll kind of get them excited with their toy, chuck it, dog goes and finds it, and then they'll like hype the dog up, turn the dog around, throw the ball, send them, and see how they kind of track and search for it. They'll do that a couple iterations, a couple of things just to kind of bring a little bit of the aggression out of them and kind of see how they react to a decoy or the different kind of stimuli that they use to instigate the aggression. So it's a lot of that, but they definitely do look into, I guess, lineage and like any health issues that pup might have.
Okay, I don't see any questions. Vic, I'm gonna let you kind of like take over this section of the interview. But I'm kind of seeking some story time. I'm seeking a little drama. What if there ever been any situations with you and your dog? You've been like, holy shit, funny, dangerous, whatever. And I'll just kind of let y'all take off from there.
I've had all the funny ones. I feel like I've had I want to say like the funniest one I had, and like we had to fix it real quick because we realized it was an issue. Was doing a sweep, and I had to do the post office because I was overseas, so I had to check all the post office. My dog actually indicated on like a package, and I was like, "Oh, like is real? Let's go!" And it was funny because everybody's like, "Oh, he's a drug dog." I'm like, "You think I come here every day for drugs? No, you gotta get out. You gotta get out." And so I'm about to make the call, and I like look at it. I'm like, "Oh, the package has my name on it too." I was like, "Oh, somebody's out for me." Like, oh, they this was planned. This is a planned hit. And I just happened to like get bold about it. I was like, you know what? Let me open this. And it was like the primary reward I was using. I ordered one off Amazon, and the dog found it. And I was like, oh yeah, we got to fix that. We got to fix that one. And so that was funny. You know, once again, I think I was good enough to where like I could do a lot of stuff for my dog off leash. We don't really use e-collars or anything like that. So like you really got to have a good foundation with the dog. I've had some dogs get away from me, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a problem in about 10 minutes if you don't come back. And sure enough, dog comes back. I'm like, where have you been? Like, you've been missing for so long. I remember I was in DC and we were doing bite training, and if you're going to send a dog for a bite, you know you got to clip them off a leash. And I remember we were out in this field, and it was just as the sun was going down. And when we sent the dog, it spooked a herd of deer. Dog was gone. Your black dog in the dark. Couldn't find him we looked for like an hour. We couldn't find this dude. And right when we were like, all right, we gotta put this out, he comes back. He just happened to be at the doorstep, out of breath, wet. Like he trekked through like the mud and everything. We was like, oh yeah. So like if you work with dogs, you know that eventually it's gonna happen to you. You just gotta either figure out how to deal with it, or you know, you just gotta accept it. Sometimes I got lucky for most of those situations, but yeah, like I got all the funny ones. I feel like.
Cody, you got any fun stories about your relations with the dogs?
Yeah, I got a couple stories about dogs taking off on me. The first time I had been a certified dog handler for all of maybe 4 days.
Oh.
And we had just gotten this dog from Lackland. This was my first dog I was ever going to work. He was not certified to do patrol work, so he wasn't certified to do bite stuff. They said that he would flee the bite and run and try and jump back in the trailer. So we brought him out to the yard to kind of, my kennel master and trainer wanted to evaluate him, see where he was, see if it was something we could fix. And I let him go on the bite, and he took off, and he kept going. Our fence had gotten blown down from a hurricane, and he slid between the gate and took off running. And he just kind of kept going, and we were all out there chasing him, running around, and he came back through. We shared a parking lot with a massive schoolhouse, so there was a lot of cars, and he's running through that parking lot, and my leash ended up sliding underneath the tire of a truck, and he was on his choke chain, so he got a quick correction, and luckily that leash got lodged under that tire, so I was able to grab him before he went any further. And then the second time I was in Germany coming home from a deployment.
Is it the same dog that I'm thinking of?
Rico.
Yep.
So me and Rico, we just done this deployment together. We had worked. I worked him off leash. Fine. Great dog. Had zero issues with him throughout the entirety of the time he had been, because, I was his first handler. I was the only guy he ever worked with. I had zero issues out of this dog outside of him trying to attack water hoses. Going to get in the van to go to the airport to head home. Mm-hmm. Open the door to the kennel, pop his leash off. He looks at me, kind of side-eyes me, and just takes off. Never once has that dog ever ran for me, and I'm chasing him through base housing in Germany. No idea where I am, and luckily they had every third house had a pole with dog poop bags on it. Luckily he stopped to take a sniff, and I was able to grab him.
Wow.
And then I came back to the van, and the guy who was taking me to the airport was like, "Did you forget something in your room?" I was like, "No, I was just chasing my damn dog through base housing." He was like, "Oh, I didn't even see that."
Wow. That's crazy.
The only other crazy one I had was the Rufus bite. That was funny.
Yeah.
Rufus bit somebody?
Yeah, I had a dog that I think I was on leave or something, and we had just got a new handler in, and he had trained with me for a while. So I was like, "Hey, you can pull my dog," because at the time he didn't have a dog. But I was like, "My dog's cool enough with you. You go out there and he does everything. So learn the ropes on just getting used to having a dog. Learn to have a dog on a heel, have him do the OB course, stuff like that. If you want to go do bite work, he'll go do it for you. You're good. Just have some of the Cody or somebody out there to watch over you, and just in case." And I remember I think I was at home playing Call of Duty, man, and they called me. He was like, "Hey, you might have to come in. Your dog bit somebody." And I was like, "I'm not even at work. How did my dog get somebody?" And they're like, "Yeah, it was our commander. So we're gonna have to call you in a second. We're gonna see how this plays out." And I guess our commander came to visit, and he was like, "Man, I love these dogs. They're dogs at the end of the day. They do amazing jobs. They really love their work." And he would go pet my dog, and my dog don't play that. So he got bit pretty well.
Yeah, it was definitely the commander's fault.
I came into the kennels, and there's a blood trail.
So we were all outside in the obedience yard. He had just run through the obedience yard with Rufus. And this kid, just got back from the schoolhouse, maybe a week before.
First, second day.
He brand new dog handler, and our commander showed up unannounced out of nowhere, and he had a Red Bull in his hand, and he walked up from behind the dog and booped him on the nose with the Red Bull can and said, "What's up, buddy?" And Rufus said, "I don't think so," and grabbed him by the hand.
Whoa.
Our kennel master was sitting in his office doing paperwork, and he said he was sitting there and kind of looked out of his door and just saw the commander holding his hand, just pouring blood at the window. And he was like, "What are y'all doing?"
Yeah, that was an interesting one to come into work for. And I was like, you got to see the blood trail and everything.
Because he's sitting there holding his hand, and you can see just the fear in this kid's eyes holding the leash. And the commander, what did he say? He said, it's never the person it's never the dog's fault. It's always the person who got bit's fault. And I just remember being like, well, in this case, yeah, that was for sure your fault.
Right. So, Scottie, let me ask you about this one. Hey, shout out to Memphis, because his name Scottie reminds me of our Scottie down here in Hamburg. Y'all wouldn't have them chips y'all got out that bald head sucker out of North Carolina if it wasn't for Arkansas. And Memphis got some cold basketball players. I remember Lee Mayberry and Corey Beck. Somebody tag Corey Beck. I ain't seen you CB, but he around here with me. But yeah, what Scottie, what events, memorable events, whether they be funny, dangerous, whatever.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
No,
You should uphold the UCMJ.
Yeah.
I ain't got no dangerous events. I got a couple funny events. First one is patrol dog. He's pretty old. He was just tired of it. But leading up to an inspection, where like they come out and they evaluate everybody and their dogs, make sure we're all within compliance. My dog decides he does not want to respond at doors anymore. He literally sniffed like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, bro, this is not the time to do that. Not the time to do this. I need you to respond at this door. He shows me every sign that he knows that there's a decoy behind the door, and then continues to walk. And I have to look at them like, I don't know what's going on. He's never done this before. And so they like, Scott, I'm trying not to look like a bad handler, and they're like, Scott, give me the leash. Give me the leash. That's the worst thing you want as a handler, when the higher rankings or everybody else want to take the leash from you, and it's like, oh my God, they're gonna show me that I suck. I can't handle my dog. And so they take it. They do the same. They actually take him out, give him a quick break, bring him back in. He does the same exact thing. Now I don't feel bad. I'm like, all right, cool. My dog, he don't care about them either. He don't care about them. He don't care about me. At the end of the day, we ended up having to change his dog's number because he was done with patrol. He said, I don't care about it no more. He got tired of the routine.
Yeah, it happens with older dogs. I had a dog like that.
There's that, and then my very first base, I get this chocolate lab. Mind you, all the Navy bases are surrounded by water. We have to do boat sweeps at my first base. Well, what are labs known for? Jumping in water.
What?
I cannot swim. Let's throw that out there.
Oh man.
I am one of Destiny's child. I'm a survivor.
Oh man.
So we're climbing over from the pier to the boat, and my dog, he sees like this gap. He's like, I can make it. I don't notice this gap at first until this dude decides to jump in. Now, I gotta jump in, get us back to the pier, and then we still have to do this sweep, soaking wet. First and last time I would let a dog go from pier to boat by itself. From that point forward, this dog was over my shoulder.
Wow.
You got a Navy dude that don't know how to swim, but the dog that loves water. What a combination.
Yeah. What's up, Baymax? Shout out Miss Pam. What's happening? Do you prefer working? Okay. Do you guys prefer working dual, multi-purpose? Well, they don't do really like, he kind of explained that earlier, right? Y'all stick to one function for the most part.
I mean, yeah, every handler has their preference on what they like. Like I really love patrol when I first started. And then like eventually I had to make the swap and realize that money's made on the detection side. You can't find bombs, and what's your real purpose as a handler? Or narcotics, like what's your real purpose? So it's like a handler preference, but at the end of the day, like when you're assigned a dog, you're assigned a mission, like you got to do it regardless, whether you prefer it or not. There are some dogs that are single purpose, and usually they're single purpose. They're going to be for the detection side of it. There's only a few places that we have just straight up patrol dogs. And yeah, it's a little fun, but like I preferred the dual purpose because you break up the monotony. I can do a day of straight patrol, I can do another day of detection, and then you also get the chance to kind of do both. If I'm doing a building search, let me see if my dog can go into drive, bite a guy, the guy run away, we chase the guy, then my dog stop for a bomb, or vice versa. Like So it's just preference. I just like to kind of push myself when it came to when I had a dual purpose dog to see like what are the limitations and then how can we exceed those.
Right. Cody or Scottie, y'all got anything to add to that?
No, I mean, kind of the same thing. Like, I favored detection. Same thing Vic said. That's where the money's made is in detection. So that's kind of when I came back from my last deployment. I came back and intentionally worked a single purpose dog purely so I could just do detection before I got put in the trainer role. Just because that's what I enjoyed doing. That made more sense to me. It clicked a little better. The patrol stuff is fun and all, but Vic had mentioned earlier there's so much red tape associated with it that I was just rather not deal with it.
Yeah, very very few and far do like we really get like a real live action bite. Like you gotta remember, like we're not in the streets of Memphis or Arkansas or Dallas or whatever where we're against hardcore gangsters. Like we're policing other military members. This is very rare that we're gonna like. I think of every time I've gotten to a situation to deploy a dog, the military member like snaps out of it like, you know what, like I don't feel like getting bit by a dog today. Like I've seen you guys train. I know Vic, I know the dog, like I know that dog will bite me. Like it's cool, y'all just put me in cuffs at that point. Like your money's really made on like the detection side. Like, can you go find the narcotics? Like if you're doing like a dorm raid or something, like can you really like show that all the training you've put into it is worth its weight? So yeah, if you're downrange, like if I have a bomb dog, I really hope I'm really good at finding bombs than if my dog bites somebody or not.
Well, I'm gonna say this for last. I don't know what my last question gonna be, but let's see here. And I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up here, guys. What's the screening for handlers like? Are people ever assigned a different job because they're not really cut out to handle dogs? So do they just say you're a bad handler or whatever? Do they assign you another MOS or they fired? Can you get fired like from a MOS?
Yeah, you get fired. You get fired. Like
when you get fired, do you get fired out the military or do you get fired from the job?
You do both. If you're bad enough. But yeah, they'll tell you all the time that you got a leash. That's a privilege, not a. That doesn't mean anything. That privilege can get taken away. Like it's a privilege, and it is. Now it's a privilege that makes you work a little bit harder. But yeah, it's a privilege because I don't know too many handlers that don't like being a handler. But it's funny because to like the general public or like even like the cops that we worked alongside of, they'll sit there and tell you like y'all don't do a lot until they come right along and they see what we do and they're like, oh, y'all do a lot. And like because we tell people, hey, we do your job and then our job. Your typical police unit, we're right there behind them doing it too, and then we still got to go do the K9 side of it as well. There's not too many, unless you're a handler, ain't nobody else replacing you as a handler in a dog team. Like that's that forced multiplier that they teach you. So yeah, you can be fired. Yes, if you're not good enough, you don't make the cut. Now, sometimes we find another role where like maybe you're doing more paperwork or you're doing more like relationship building, I'll say. But I mean, other times you might want to go back to being a normal cop, work the gate, or do something else. Like if you just don't make the cut. Like once again, we got standards and evals and all this other stuff that's policing us the whole way. So like there's no surprise if you don't make the cut. Like we get evaled every 6 months, and then twice we do that every 6 months, and then on that second one, you getting the eval by people way higher than you. So, yeah, you'll know pretty quick if you make the cut or not. And I tell people all the time, like your dog will tell you, like your dog don't do something, your dog's not proficient. That's on you as the handler because you should know this. And it, now granted, like Scott's situation, sometimes it's just a bad day, but you should know generally like where you fall within that.
So Wynn asks, with chemical and bio threats, are there K9s being trained on such threats? Oh my God! Because when you talk, I know a little bit about chemical. When you smelling peaches and herb out in the middle of the desert, you inhaling a nerve agent.
Yeah,
You
why
right,
would,
Lord.
we don't really need that. Once
Yeah.
again, like, you're putting the dog at risk if you're doing that.
Right.
I'm not teaching my dog to go put his face in fentanyl.
Right.
Like that, they're doing more harm than good at that point.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get in my question. We had a lot of stuff going on this week, and I'm not getting into it because we ain't no regurgitation. We ain't trying to review all NWA. We the pulse. We make the content. We don't go piggybacking off all that other stuff that's going on in the canine world. But e-collars, are they ever used, and what are y'all thoughts on them personally?
You want to go?
So within like the DoD, e-collars are used, kind of like in a very controlled, limited area. So there used to be a program. It may be back now that the Army and the Marine Corps kind of ran called, I think it was called DSD. So basically, it was tracking. So you have a tracking dog. So they're running this dog off leash on e-collar. So they're not necessarily using it for reinforcement, but rather recall. But they build the reinforcement with it initially in order to have the recall with it. And then I know a lot of the operators, special operations guys use them. But they're completely separate from us. They have their own programs run in-house. In the Air Force, I think you could get approval. I never saw it.
Yeah, really, really rare. And I think kind of like how you've been having the discussion of the good and bad of it. Is you're taking 17, 18-year-olds, giving them a gun, giving them a dog, and tell them work at e-collar. It's kind of a lot to process, and you can do a lot of harm with the e-collar as well. So it's better to just teach you how to work it off or work it with a leash, and then you can get good enough to work it off a leash to where, okay, yeah, we don't have an e-collar, but like I've been doing this for a year and however long you've been doing it with this dog, to where I didn't mess it up. The foundation's a lot different versus just slapping an e-collar in somebody's hand, because there's a lot of education that goes with it. And with the e-collar, you got to train not only the person but the dog to it. So
right.
Yeah, and then we're getting these dogs with a skill set already.
Yeah.
So they have those building blocks built in. So we're not necessarily building anything through that, negative reinforcement kind of window that would warrant an e-collar. A lot of choke chains, pinch every once in a while, but even, a lot of these guys you'll see run a pinch, they're not using it properly, or, they're using it as a punishment rather than a reinforcement tool, just because they don't know. So it's a lot easier to say, hey, here's this choke chain. This is how you apply a correction. This is when you apply a correction. This is what you're allowed to do it. Because, you get some real dumb kids that make it through. And
yeah,
right.
It's just the education that comes with it is a lot to kind of spread across the whole DoD, if that makes sense. You got, once again, everything we do is pretty uniform. So Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, to try to teach everybody that is a little difficult.
Right.
And
so, yeah.
We're trying to get you educated and spun up enough to where like you can go do a deployment.
Okay, right. So so let me get into it, the e-collar, just on your personal thoughts about it, because Vic and Cody, when I do these subjects, I see the aftermath. I see the comments. People start calling me. Hey, y'all ain't got to call me just to air your opinion out. Just put it in the comments. A lot of random people be hitting me up. Well, man, let me tell you what I think. I don't give a shit what you think. Put it in the comments, man. because you're taking up my time, 30 minutes of my time, to explain your theory to me. But I don't do that for everybody. I can do that for a few people. But e-collars, I see that like it's almost like politics. I don't think everybody understand them. I think everybody shouldn't have them. You know, they unless they really know what they're doing with them. But Vic, in your honest opinion, do you think that the e-collar is a abusive tool?
No, I think that you had Haz on the other day. I think Haz said it beautiful. It's an extension of the leash. It applies pressure. It might be the easiest on a dog. I'm not yanking on him. I'm not cranking on him. I'm not, hurting his trachea or anything else like that. But with great power is great responsibility. I mean, same as you do damage with e-collar, you do damage with a leash. You do damage with a collar. It's just have you been educated enough or in the right way to actually apply it to where it is actually beneficial? And I think that's what it really comes down to. I think it is not understood. My personal dog wears an e-collar, and I promise you, I've seen people walk up to my dog and take his e-collar off, and I'm like, he doesn't need it, but it's there because my dog is off leash, and I got a Corso, and he intimidates people. If he was just running amok, I would have another problem on my hands. Why not have that extra reassurance?
Right.
But yeah, same as people put harnesses on dogs for what? And you don't know what it's used for. I can't tell you how many people put a harness on a dog and be like, it stops them from pulling. But a harness is literally made for a dog to pull. Any dog you've ever seen work in a harness is out front pulling, whether it's a sled, whether it's a track, or whether it's search and rescue. The dog's not next to you. The dog gets on his collar, on his harness, and he's gone. He's got the full extent of the leash at that point. But that comes with education.
Right. He says here, Cody, did you have any thoughts on e-collars for?
No, I mean, obviously, any tool in the wrong hands is not good. I think the e-collar gets a lot of stigma from the shock collar. People thinking that you're just sending 1,000 volts through this dog's neck because they're not behaving or whatever. In the right applications, it's definitely a super useful tool, especially when you get into more like these hunting dogs, the sporting dogs, building that kind of off-leash stuff.
Control.
Definitely something it's a good tool. And I think a big part of that negative stigma is you get Bill and Jane down the street that have their, 2-year-old Chihuahua on an e-collar for no reason. And you a lot of stuff like that, and it being misused, and then people see that as abuse rather than you see somebody who, trains tracking dogs for search and rescue. I guarantee without an e-collar that makes that job 100 times harder. But, him having that e-collar probably streamlines that process and makes it possible for these dogs to go find these lost children in the woods, or, somebody that fell off a mountain, broke their leg. So, definitely a time and place. And I think a lot of people probably are just using it improperly.
Right. Doing dog content, and especially a subject like e-collars, I noticed that it could be breeding, training, but especially in the training world, sometimes there's different cultural differences. I don't even mean y'all might mean it in color and nationality when it comes to dogs and dog training and different things like that. Because some of it is almost like a pet home perspective when it comes to dogs. It's just weird. And then I think some of it is actually I'm speaking on the debates on some of these topics and a lot of the whining that comes behind e-collars. And I think it's because of the understanding or the level of trainer they really are. Because I talked to a bunch of different people, and the best answers I got from trainers from all ages, all races, it was what Vic said. said, basically the dog need to know the stuff before he put the e-collar on, and in the wrong hands, it can be dangerous. But a lot of it, like, I'm starting to hear so much PETA talk. They sound like PETA when they talk nowadays, man. It's really weird in dogs right now. But anyway, that's my gripe for today. But might be too late. But how long is AIT for handlers?
It's 11 weeks, not nearly long enough.
No. It kind of gets you through the door to, hey, this is a leash, this is a dog, this is the capabilities. When you get to your next base, they're going to train you up. So some people grasp it in that time. Some people, you just got to do some extra when you get back to your first base. But once again, like, this is so many people going through it. They can't individually train everybody. Everybody has to be, on a standard. There's a baseline that you got to reach. And then to excel is going to be on when you go back to, your base or, your training staff to really excel you. I see Tony asks, like, what's the screening process for it? It's a lot of volunteer work. I think I volunteered for 9 months before I was actually selected to go K9. Everybody's different, but you got to kind of get screened by handlers, kennel masters, people that are actually in it.
The Air Force needs do in-house screening.
Yeah.
So you got to get that approval from your local kennel that you're stationed at in order to go.
Yeah. And so for us, it's a bit longer. You got to be, a cop first. You got to show that you can at least do the basics in cop work, and then you kind of train, volunteer, and the kennels got to kind of fill you out. Once again, I think everybody here's dog people. You kind of get a feel for other dog people and see, like, okay, like, he's got it, or no, he don't. Like, we had somebody that came through and he was scared of dogs, but he wanted to be a canine handler.
Yeah, he wanted to be a canine handler purely because he thought we didn't do anything at work. He showed up on a bad foot already because he PCS from another base, came into our unit, and basically went and told the commander that he was supposed to go to canine school already. So it forced our hand to sign his paperwork for him to go. So he came out with us. It was like a week or two before he went down to handler's course.
Yeah, he was with me. He was scared.
Yeah, he wouldn't get in the car with me and the dog.
He wouldn't feed the dogs.
And then one day they were coming out from doing training, and I was doing something in my office, and they came back in, and he was like, yeah, I can't wait to be canine so I can just hang out and do this all day and not do anything. And our kennel master lit him up, ripped him apart for probably a good 30, 35 minutes, just yelling at him. And then we went and talked to our leadership to try and get him pulled from going to canine school because he was like a week out from going down to the course. And they told us, no, there was nothing we could do. But, the world corrects itself. And he ended up getting sent home like 2 weeks after being there.
Yeah, immediately.
For being an inmate.
That's crazy. Well, it's a lot of posers online with dog training. Well, the dog training world, I've been learning a lot the last few weeks. I've been learning a lot in the last few weeks since we've been in dog training a lot. It's a lot of y'all got a lot of posers out there in that dog training world, and it's some weird political stuff too. So like, yeah. So, but this is this probably gonna be my last question here. If there was a young man, young lady interested in getting into the armed forces, and let me give my sister a shout out. She did 3 tours in the Air Force base, and I think on the last year, she put on that drill sergeant cap with that drill sergeant hat for Trump Space Force. Is that Space Force still going?
Yep.
It is, yeah. She graduated the first class. Yeah, she sure did. Shout out to my sister Pam. But if someone was going to get into the military, which branch would you suggest without being as non-biased as possible? Don't get on the jarheads and don't get on the whoa.
Well, so believe it or not, my answer for people that if they know this is something that they want to do forever, join the Army, join the Navy.
Yeah.
Those are the two places. So the Navy less so. The Navy, you're not necessarily guaranteed going in. But, if you have good enough ASVAB score, you can walk into an Army recruiter and say, hey, I want to be a dog handler and I will not go for anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And, you may have to wait 8 months, a year and a half in order to go, but you kind of control your destiny in that point. Whereas, the Navy gives you multiple opportunities to go in. So while they're going through their version of MP school, they have a board that kids will go up and they'll kind of board. And if they get approval from the board, they'll go to the schoolhouse from there. But also they kind of have the same program as we did, where they get to their base after being, a master at arms, that they can go to the K9 schoolhouse a little later. But the Army is the only branch now that has it as its own career field. It's its whole separate career field from military police. They go through like a very shortened version of the MP school, because the MP school is their boot camp and their schooling together. It's all like just one continuous thing. And then they immediately go straight to handler's course and they're classed up together. So used to be when you go down to handler school, you're mixed, all 4 branches together. Now the Army's separate. So they still have a drill sergeant with them, marching them around town, brand new kids to the Army. Whereas every other branch, you got kids that have been in for a little bit longer at that point. So that's my advice. That's what I tell people. My sister actually just joined the Navy, wanting to be a dog handler, and I told her over and over again, join the Army. If that's what you want to do, join the Army.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed and it's for life.
Go ahead, Vic.
I second that. I think that every branch has this kind of, the thing that really makes them different. So I would just do your research on what those little minute differences are. But I tried to join the Navy first, and I just got better luck with joining the Air Force. So, but every branch has its thing that makes them different and makes them good. Now we all give each other hard times, but like at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters in arms. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk down on any of them.
Which one would you suggest? Which branch would you suggest that have careers that carry more over into the real world?
All of us do have careers that carry over. It's just, what do you want to do?
Right.
Like I know people in the Air Force that worked on planes and they work on jets outside the military, or now they're diesel techs and stuff like that. Like each branch has that career, and it's just kind of like up to you to kind of channel your own career to that. If you know you're not going to be in the military long, then I got a cousin that she just promoted, so shout out to her. But she's in the medical field. She's got a job for life if she ever decides to get out,
Yeah, medical supply, learning that stuff. Woo.
You work on planes, jets, engines, stuff like that. Like,
yes,
you have a job. For us, we really translate really well to law enforcement, being that we're canine handlers, and that's not easily to come by for somebody that has gone to formal schooling, that has experience and has accolades within the career field doing it. So it's just kind of whatever you want to set yourself up for. And that's just really what it comes down to.
Okay.
Yes, you use K9s.
Okay.
Yeah, they shrunk their program 2020. They cut their program in half, actually. So to a lesser extent, a little harder to get into.
Yeah.
They run their program like ours. You go to your first base, work with them, and they kind of pick and choose. But they essentially got rid of their deployment capability and divvied up their dogs across all the other branches. But
which doesn't really hurt, because other branches can get stuck with other branches. I can't tell you how many times I went on a mission and I was with Army handlers or some Navy or some Marines. So like once again, it's just figure out and do the homework on your own end if that's something that you're looking to go into. Do the homework, ask people that are in it that do it, and that way that you're not taken by surprise, you know.
Gotcha. So I'll be remiss. I know we about to get out of here. How those Catahoulas doing?
Oh, my cat. That I had to mute for a second. They started baying. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Catahoulas bay. They don't really bark too much. And so one of them was just baying down there. Now to tell her, give me a couple more minutes. But I like Catahoulas. It's really like I'm learning a lot with them. I learned that they're really biddable, kind of like Malinois, where like if it can fit in their mouth, they're gonna put it in their mouth. If it moves, they're gonna bite it, and if it doesn't move, they're gonna bite it to try to make it move.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. It's really fun having Catahoulas, especially like if you got like mine or one of mine has like the spots, the blue eyes. I don't really like taking her out because I'm going to get stopped for 20 minutes, and people are going to ask about what kind of dog is this, and I love her eyes, I love her pattern and all that. But they're great, man. I try to post a lot with them, but they're only like 4 or 5 months, and they're probably some of the easiest dogs I've had to train ever. So I can't really say too much bad about them.
Yeah, you sent me a couple of books to read on them because I need to look more into them. I'm having to take my time with each dog now because I need to research them just a little bit before I get into them. But is that a southern swamp dog? What's the story behind that?
So Catahoulas are from the Catahoula Lake down in Louisiana. So Catahoula is a Choctaw word. It means spirit, lake spirit or something like that. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere in that realm.
So that's the Indian word Choctaw used around here. So is that did that dog develop from the Indian culture or?
So it developed from I guess the Spanish came in to Louisiana and their dogs kind of got mixed in with the Native American dogs. The Native American dogs were thought to have some of the native red wolf in them. Mm-hmm. And so we have like a mixture of, some people will say wolf. I don't really see it because we have floppy ears, but but there's a mixture of all sorts of things. It's more from that. I think it's sacred lake. That's what Catahoula means. And so that's where they come from. The Spanish came, they mixed with some of the Native American dogs, and they came up with this Catahoula, which is how we have like the spots, the leopard prints, the blue eyes, a lot of thought to be some Bosheron in there. I think they said some Greyhound, some Mastiff back in the day. I don't know what the divvy up the mix is now, but
are they still adding in dogs now?
Are they still what?
Are they still adding in breeds now?
No,
okay.
They're not adding in. They're set.
They said okay.
Mm-hmm. They're not recognized by the AKC. They're a foundation dog, so I guess they are recognized, but they're not advertised. But I like them because they do everything. They're really like the American muscle, I think, that nobody knows about. They herd, they hunt, they have some like protection in them. They do whatever. Honestly, I taught my dog how to climb on my shoulders like it's a tree, and she'll just chill there. Like they do whatever you really want them to do. They bay, they track. Like my dog's kind of learning how to track now. Yeah, so Catahoulas are used in a lot of curs because they're realistically, or initially they were used to hunt boar. They're going out to bay boar, which is where they go out in the woods for however many miles or whatever, find a boar, they bay. They don't really howl. It's that long burr type of bark, and they'll bay the dog until they catch dog. That's where you have like your bulldogs, your corsos and stuff to come and catch them. Now, the thing that, from my understanding, Catahoula's got into a lot of trouble with, because like I said, they're kind of biddable. So they think that they can take on a boar at 60 pounds or 70 pounds or whatever your Catahoula kind of comes out to. And they get into some trouble. So they will mix them into some of these hounds to kind of give that hound a little bit more of that feistiness when they're out there in the woods. So your dog's not really getting back down. So you see them in a lot of the curs. You always hear like Catahoula curs and stuff like that, which is like a Catahoula with a hound mix.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, and Vic, what's your handle on Instagram so people can follow you?
My personal is Vic the Pick. I post a lot of my dog stuff I call it Life of Leopards because I'm figuring out this life with my Catahoula leopard dogs. So that's what they have, their own Instagram, their own Facebook. You can follow them there. I post TikToks on my TikTok. It's Vic the Pick right there. And
Right. Okay.
You'll see a lot more of them soon. I got a secret that I'm working on with them right now.
Oh, you gotta tell me about that.
Yeah, so I got a little secret I'm going.
Okay, cool. Shout out to Live Your Life Dogs. I just wanted to. It's a couple podcasts I want to keep working with. You'll see me with. He's one of the guys I want to work with on a few shows. He does a different type dog, but I really like his channel. A lot of positive things going over there. And of course, y'all know my dog is Cold House. So I'm going to try to do some collabs with some shows, different podcasts that I really respect. Live Your Life Dog. Just looking at him from a distance, I really like what he stands for, what kind of dude he is. So I look forward to working with him on doing some dog profiles and different things like that. Well,
my last little shout out go to all Scottie, because you see he's currently working, but that's my brother from another mother. So appreciate him stepping in. Thank you, Cody. The other service members, I know a couple of mine were in the chat. They probably didn't say anything, but they probably trying to make sure I represented somewhat well. And then the people that served before, after, and still currently serving. So appreciate y'all, all branches. I'm not going to talk trash on nobody today, but catch me on another time. I got something for you.
That's right. That's right. Jarhead. But anyway, I just want to piggyback just out what Vic just said. Thank you to all the servicemen and women all over the United States and everything. We really do appreciate y'all, man. And I didn't touch on it, but if anybody's struggling PTSD, man, I see a lot of veterans on the street. We praying for all them guys and different things like that, so their mind may be restored. So, Vic, I thank you, brother.
Anytime. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. You got to jump on here and co-host with me too, bro. You always bring a different angle. I always tell Doug, I said, Vic, he gonna bring another angle.
I don't think I did anything crazy today.
No. You was actually pretty.
I was angry.
You didn't hit nothing with no wild stuff today. So so you usually make the chat go, oh, then we start popping up again. So
this is pretty a straightforward, just like informational.
Thing. For sure.
Not too many great lines in this one.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll be back to the shit in a minute. Though.
That one has. I really wanted to catch that one live.
Oh, you missed that one?
I missed it live, but I rewatched. I caught the playback.
Oh yeah.
And you had Oscar on there. I was like, that's two people I wish I could have a conversation with one day.
Oh really? Oh yeah. We can see if we can make it happen. Has came in. He always gonna do a good show, and he gonna stand on what he say. You know what I'm saying? He is not an actor.
Yeah,
Oscar,
big fan of both of them.
Yeah, they real dudes. So all right, bro. We'll see y'all the next time.
All right. Well, y'all have a good one.
Okay. All right.
Step into the realm of K9 wisdom with our podcast, NWA Cane Corsos, where we interview dog men and women from around the globe. Discover their talents and insights on breeding, training, nutrition, and the rich history of dogs. Tune in to the most underrated yet influential dog podcast on social media. Your journey into the dog world starts here.